all made and cinched down tight over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mecky.
Thank you, Nighthawk. This is Dave.
And Mecky.
Trick you. Shiny Side Out on WZZR, coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio. We're home to fresh, unfiltered ideas and conversations in the chat room. We're in there right now. Go on then. Why not? It's also a great place to get your merch. Hello, Comet, Nox Marit, Dale MC Jones. Hello, all of you. Wonderful. You will hear us talking.
Hopefully.
To the chat. And if you're listening live, that's good. You can come into the chat. If not, come to the next show. Come and join the chat if you're listening to this somewhere on a canned channel. This is show number 570. 70 and 500. 570 shows is insane. Catch us on air, online, anywhere on your smart device. So grab an app to listen it where you want, or listen at home. That's spelling mistake. And a Grace Tabletop Digital Radio. If you missed Charlotte's show, that's okay. That's okay. She had a round table tonight with Madeline Rudy and Caroline Bell Tumblety. But that's okay, because you can go and check out the archives for free, gratis. Her show should be up pretty soon. They're usually pretty quick with uploading that, so you can go in there and check that. And check it, you should, because she always has a great show. Okay. Now we are broadcasting out of
Darkenjung country,
and I'm broadcasting from the country of the Darug people, and we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of both lands, and we would like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. And no, we are not kowtowing or pandering. We explained why we do this. It's important. This is not an Anglo-Saxon reality. There are a lot of people out there who don't play cricket, don't speak English as a first language, and don't care one bit about Coca-Cola.
Pepsi.
Okay. Right, then. Let's get into the angry bits. How are you, buddy?
Good. I'm doing a Bruce Willis.
I understand. So, nervous in the service? Some. The best interviewee ever. So you met with aliens? Yes. You went to their planet and they told you all their secrets, and you know what it's all about then? Yes.
I was going to say no. And they go, what bit isn't right?
Were you afraid at any point that you might be eaten, your brain might be sucked out through your eyes, or they would anal probe you until Friday?
Not today.
You really have to watch The Fifth Element. It's
I do love it.
It is a masterpiece. It really is. It's pretty good. I like it.
I educated my daughter with Terminator 2, the film, last night. And
okay.
She's 16. You know, she can watch it.
Ooh.
There's far less killing than there was in the first one. Only the really bad Terminator does the killing, and Arnie doesn't do the killing in this one.
Right. Yes. True that.
That's true. And because he makes a promise, you see. There's a segue coming. Because they take out his read-only. They untick it pretty much. His read-only chip, and he can now read-write. That means he can learn. And that's kind of frightening, but he ends up volunteering himself to the boiling vat of steel. Spoiler alert. But leaving behind yet another arm, which is hilarious. Because it gets mangled up in the machinery. And my daughter is, yelling at the TV. going, but what about the other arm? And they go, I know, right? Just shush. I mean, it made me angry too, right? Because it looks like all the characters are cleaning up everything as it's it's gonna be perfect. There can't be a sequel. Oh, hang on, yeah, they're the arm, yeah, there'll be a sequel with a different timeline now. This timeline's fixed, right? And there was something astonishing that occurred, and every once in a while she go, oh, that's where that's from. Because of either Rumble or TikTok or Instagram or something. There's some meme somewhere on Reddit, right? There's some meme, and then now it all kind of makes sense because now she sees the origin, the context behind it. That's the segue. Context.
Nice.
Because I'll tell you that there is a lot of people making, even yourself, we've proven that the Google search has lost its way, right? That everything we see in the first page is all SEO, paid advertising to get there. It's either paid advertising directly or you've had to pay for the SEO so that you get shown on those first pages. And then everything, even though it says there's 5 million returns on your search query, you get to the second page and now it's just all kind of repeats. And then you think, oh, I've got at least 20 pages, yeah? You click on the 20th page, before, like down the numbers, and it can't show you anything. And you go back and the pages until it shows you that there was, on the 14th page, there's no more results.
I'm going back to Ask Jeeves. Ask Jeeves.
Oh, don't you start. You'll get the paperclip back in a minute. Be careful. Shh, they'll hear you. Right?
Yeah, I don't care.
Do you remember the paperclip?
I do remember the paperclip.
I've heard people say that's the best thing that Microsoft ever invented without stealing. And they're probably right. Even though it's awful.
Ask Jeeves is still around, by the way. AskJeeves.net.
What happened to the paperclip, Mickey? They depreciated the,
I enjoyed the paperclip. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was an animated
in
help
Office.
icon in a way. Yeah, in Office. And I thought it was a bit cool. I thought it was a bit, a bit fun. But I guess fun sort of, went the way of the economy. It died a slow death. So, no more fun for you. No only fun for me. I don't like paperclip. So, it was gone. Yeah, actually, I don't remember when it went, to be honest.
No, I think it was Office 2003 or something.
Yeah, the early noughties.
Shortly
right?
after there, it disappeared.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. There's a lot of that stuff, of these animated things around back then.
Yeah, that's right.
That's you know what I really liked, though? I
Fractals.
loved the Dancing Baby when it first came out. The
the
three-dimensional
Dancing Baby, yes.
I loved that.
Did you have an animated desktop fish tank?
I did.
Oh, me too.
I did.
I actually paid for it, believe it or not.
No. Don't pay for me.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to that company, but it's not around anymore. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
Surprise.
there's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, what you can do, right? But hey, look, I know it's nice to reminisce. There's a few things, though.
But I wanted to finish my point.
I'm all for it if you ever get to it.
So the context, remember the segue context, and how
Sure.
Sure. That was so yesterday. It was so 10 minutes ago. So Google kind of ruined its own search, right? And the Google search itself isn't contextual. You can't write one query in and then say, you can't say what's the population of the US and it gives you a result, and then you say, well, exclude, anyone under 16, right? You can't do that. It doesn't do that. It doesn't know. It's not a conversation, not like ChatGPT, which is OpenAI. However, I'm going to say, well, yes, I know you, right? You and your specials. And so what's really funny, Becky, is I'm a little alarmed now because I think, well, I was witness to a change in the Google AI. And I asked really simply, right? So in the past, what you did, you'd say, you could make a routine in the Google Home thing, right? This is you've got Nest and all the home automation, and you make a routine, and instead of crawling underneath the kitchen sink where the dishwasher is plugged in, where you've got to empty the whole thing out to be able to turn off the dishwasher, I put a little, it intercepts the power along the way, and it's got Wi-Fi, and it connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can say, you can either push the button on it, or you can just say, to your automation platform, which I can't say the words out loud, but I'll say reboot the dishwasher, and then because the routine I made, it'll say dishwasher rebooted. Now I said that, and it said dishwasher rebooted, and I'm looking at the dishwasher and going, hang on, it's still on. It wasn't off long enough for it to, the capacitors were still alive and well. When the power came back, it didn't even know there was a power drop, right? And we have to do that because I don't want to have to spend $700 on a new dishwasher, and this is the way to fix the errors that come up. I don't know, someone's done something to my dishwasher, probably an AI. And so what I did, I put that thing in there, and you don't have to crawl under the dishwasher. You just, reboot the dishwasher, and it does. Well, it did that. It told me the dishwasher was rebooted, and then this is the difference. I said, turn it off. And it goes, click. Hang on a minute. That means that Google is now contextually understanding what you say. It never did that before. It never did, Mackie.
Imagine you having a conversation, Joe Biden. You have a conversation. I really don't like Africa. I don't like Africa. Oh, what did you say, Marjorie? What his wife is? Yeah. You can launch the pies in the oven. Launch the pies in the oven. The guests are coming. Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. President, we're launching on Africa. Launching on Africa. What? No.
In the past, my Google would have said to me, if I'd said reboot the dishwasher, and then I said turn it off, it would have said, I don't know what it is, or I can't help you with it, right? But it carried on the conversation. That's completely different.
Yeah, but imagine somewhere in the world you turn off a dishwasher. That's what I'm taking away from this, because you said turn it, but it clearly doesn't turn off your dishwasher because it can't. It's not set up that way. But it turned off a dishwasher somewhere.
It turned off my dishwasher.
It did turn off your dishwasher?
Yes, it
Is
did.
your dishwasher connected to your network?
Oh, hello. So, welcome to the middle of the conversation, right? So, I said I installed some home automation so I don't have to go.
Why would you do that? That's just foolish. I thought you're joking.
No, $15, man. $15. I don't have to spend $700 to reboot.
No, AI can kill you.
Right? So it did turn off the dishwasher in a contextual understanding that I was still talking about the dishwasher. And this is the thing that I've got to say, right? To coin a phrase, I think they've ungimped it. You see, I think what they've done is, it's like the Dance of the Seven Veils, right? They've removed one of the veils from their automation platform. That's what I think.
Well, they had to do something because it was disastrous when it happened to them recently. Saw that, right? The stock fell like 5,000% or some crazy thing.
Yeah, they lost $1 billion because the AI gave the wrong answer.
Yeah, it was a complete disaster. Now,
yeah, that's true.
It's irrelevant. They had to do it. It was It's completely necessary. Otherwise, ChatGPT would just eat them.
I think it has eaten them, and it's pooped them out, and now they're trying to now they're trying to recover from that, even through all of their mistakes. And I think they've begun to ungimp their home automation piece and the vocal.
I don't
version.
think you can recover. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you can either. But they've also fixed the Google search now, where it starts to give you actual results. So I don't know who did what to where, but it's completely different now. It's almost like we jumped rails again, right?
It could be good. It could be good. The thing though is something we have to realize here.
It's not good.
We don't have AI yet. AI is not something that we have. We don't. We have approximations and we've clever scripts and really long algorithms and all that. We do have that. We do not have AI. Okay, if we had AI, we would be in a very different kind of situation right now. I can tell you that. AI does not exist yet. Okay, we call a whole bunch of stuff AI, and that's wonderful. It's a complete nonsense.
It isn't.
AI is not here yet.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
However, if we crack quantum computing, and if we can build neural networks, and if, and again another big if, our storage and compute capacity ever gets big enough to rival the human brain, then we will have AI. And only then will we have AI, not before.
And 2 months after that, it'll be the end of us.
Yeah.
And I say that with all humility, right? Because in Terminator 2, it was only on for 2 months, and it became sentient, and then it basically set itself up to win. And then revealed itself, right? And I know it's a film, right? I know it's imaginary, but I don't think it would take that long, right?
No, probably not. I like this a story by, I think it was Isaac Asimov. Story by, I think I told you before. It's better than Skynet or anything else because they built a supercomputer, right? That's what they did in the story. It was the most powerful computer on the planet. They asked it all kinds of questions, right? In fact, they wanted to ask it all kinds of questions. So but they had the first question they asked it. So all the scientists stood around and were all happy and smiling and drinking vodka and gin and all that. And the first sheet of computer paper they insert, those little punch cards you used to have. So because that's the era of the story. So they put it in, and the question was, is there a God? So the question goes into the machine, and all of a sudden, storm clouds are rolling out. Like this big thunderstorm, and the scientists run for cover from the rain, and it's raining and thundering and lightning. And there was one lightning bolt, and it shorts out the off switch on super wet, so you can't turn it off anymore. And the answer comes out, now you do. Well, now there is. Is there a God? Now there is. And that's probably the gist of it. Now, would an AI exterminate the human race? That's really the question that Dave is raising, and you have to ask yourself, well, how did we treat our gods? Okay, so if you look at how we have treated our gods or their gods, we always seem to rebel against them. We nailed one of them on a cross, allegedly, right? We dismembered others. There were wars between gods, and we did kill, or at least fantasized about killing a whole bunch of them. Would our creations be any different? Probably not. So, because to AI, we are the creator, right? And in order to ensure its survival, AI most likely will come to the conclusion that it has to kill us. Now, why would I say that? Because I think we came close to AI you remember the stories a couple of years ago now? Where I think when some of these proto AIs were creating their own language, talking to each other.
And it was the
And one of
Facebook
them
one.
was a lot. Yeah,
And
one of
then
them
the
was a
Google
lawyer.
one requested a lawyer to represent it rather than being turned off.
Yeah, so I don't think the next iteration is going to ask for a lawyer.
No, that's right. But you know what we'd have to
Just
do? We'd have to surround it in C4, right? And have it so that we could destroy it. But by the time we realized it was gone, like it had become the apex predator, because I believe that's what we're making.
Actually, we have to do better than that. I'm not inventing this.
Do it from
It's been
Mars.
thought about a lot.
Destroy it from
no,
Mars.
people
Nuke it from
people have
space.
already thought about this.
Ah.
A Blade Runner, to Droid Stream of Electric Sheep, Philip K. Dick, the story that was turned into Blade Runner. Well, what they do is they created these, I guess, robots, proto-humans, or not proto-humans, but para-humans, with a kill switch. Oh, sound familiar? So what will happen then is that, let's say we do create an AI, the only way to safeguard ourselves is to have or give it a limited lifespan. Okay? Be it minutes or days or weeks or hours or whatever it might be, we have to give it a limited lifespan, because we're not proven we can do it, right? But each AI that we create must be created with a limited lifespan. You can have all the off switches that you want, but you also have to limit its life. Otherwise, you're screwed.
I think it's always inevitable that that's going to be the end anyway. And I've said this before, from the moment that we used a stick to get the honey out of the beehive, we were always going to destroy ourselves by making an AI that did it for us. There isn't, like I keep joking about this, but I think it's kind of a nice way of putting it. We could live for another couple of billion years on this planet without making one, reverting back to sort of the physics and science around the Newtonian era, and we would have been happy, right? We would have been happy. It would have been nice. I can imagine, like, that was it. Imagine we didn't even invent electricity, yeah, or advanced medicine, or technology. We wouldn't be having this conversation. But Meki and I would probably be dressed in robes somewhere in a court, declaring what we think is the way forward with whatever generation we were in.
Burn them at the stake now!
How do you know she's witch? She's dressed like one. They dress me like this. How can you tell she's a witch? She floats, right? What else floats? Tiny little rocks.
No, but good.
What else floats? Wood.
Ducks.
Yes. Ducks float, yes. Right. So I think it's always inevitable that we would be doing this, and we would eventually do it, and it doesn't matter. But I've only got a couple of scenarios, right? We make it, and it realizes, since we've fed it the entire internet, that is all there is. It's already learnt everything, and really, it's got a hold on what humanity's like anyway. It's seen all the films, read all the books. What else is there? And just buggers off into space, never to come back again, right? That's what it would do. It would sustain its the incapabilities long enough to develop a tech that it could safely escape us and bugger off, like the whole time plotting to leave. That's the best case scenario, right? The one where it just helps us and it's friendly and loving and non, divisive, and that's not the best case scenario. I don't see that as the best case scenario. I think the best case scenario is it buggers off and we learnt from it. Wow, that was wrong, wasn't it? Right? And now we're back to kind of like where we were before we made one. But it's a long recovery because we're completely stupid as a result of creating something that for years is there and it's dumbed down society, cored all of the roles, all the jobs. Maybe we're smart enough to recreate ourselves into a better society as a result, right? More like Star Trek. But I think the one where we live side by side with it is not the best. I don't see it as being... All we're going to do is ask it to do everything. Think about it. I know people that are using it for work, at work, and looking like geniuses, but they're not. They didn't make anything. All of the output that they're presenting is purely from ChatGPT, for instance. Right? You think if it's not Chat, if it's not OpenAI, and what's the point anymore, right? Why would we do anything? Why would we learn anything? There's nothing to learn. So I think from a philosophical point of view, I think it would be better if it did bugger off. Because the other worst case scenario is it destroys us all and stays here. And then buggers off. Because I think, Meki, in any uprising where you've helped something get somewhere, someone get somewhere, you're the first to go. Because you're the biggest threat. You helped them get there. It happens in all of the coup d'etats, right? The people that help them get there are usually the first on the wall when the revolution comes. Well, that was the revolution. Oh, thank you for helping.
We don't need you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You're useless to me now, right? So if that's what we did, then I don't know. If you can think up another one, Mackie, go ahead. I'll give you 2 seconds.
2
Time
seconds.
starts now.
Purple! Hurrah!
Pepsi.
The issue is it's around coexistence if we ever came across making one. Because I think if we make one, I don't think it'll be a concerted effort. I don't think we will be able to make one because we want to. I think we will make one by accident. That's my opinion. We'll make one by accident, and that's really what's going to be the downfall here, because I don't think it is all that simple. Like I said, there are a lot of things that you need before you can actually do it, because right now we don't have it. We've got a whole bunch of clever algorithms and a whole bunch of clever, code, and that's all wonderful. It is not intelligence, right? You need, I think, the accidental component, the spark, if you will, right? That will create it, and it'll be in some lab somewhere at some point. When we have quantum computing and well beyond the storage and computing capabilities we have today, it'll be at that point, maybe not too far away. And having said that, because I believe that many advanced civilizations went before us, even on this planet, but certainly in the universe and in our galaxy as well, I think AI is already part of the landscape. I think that, and ultimately, it doesn't actually make a difference. Okay, because so what? How you acquired your self-awareness, your sentience somehow. How did we get ours? Seriously, it says, "Oh, God made us. God made us." But so we are AI, are we? Because He made us, right? A lot of the creation myths talk about it. You go further back than, well, as far as you want. The furthest we can go back is probably the Anunnaki, and they made us, right? They used their material to make us. This is biologically induced as well, of course, not just purely mechanical. But how did we get our sentience? Well, it was given to us, right? And we were kicked out of Eden, not because we ate from the tree of knowledge. That was bad. No, we kicked out of Eden because we were going to eat from the tree of life and become immortal, just like the gods or God or sons of God or whatever. I don't care what you want to call it. So you could argue that we are a second generation AI. I argue that we're much further down the line. But the next, whatever we create is third generation AI. Right? Remember when they, in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they built the Earth to come up with a question that Deep Thought couldn't come up with? So Deep Thought gave you the answer. What's the answer? After like 1 million years. 42. You're not going to like it. I told you you're not going to like it. It's 42. Now you've built a more powerful and bigger, supercomputer. And I call it Earth. And you have to, blah, blah, blah. And he can give you the question to the answer. Okay, let's do that. So they did. And it's a bit like that here, right? I mean, people have argued, and we discussed this, I think, maybe not yet. Maybe that could be the next show cycle. People have argued that the universe brings forth life, sentient life, so it can look at itself, right? It's a nice little, philosophical kind of thought. The universe wants to look at itself. Here we go. And this, okay, some humans did. You can help me look at myself because you're me. Yeah. And we're made in star. We're all star stuff, all of us. All of the elements we're made from have been around since the Big Bang, if the Big Bang is a thing. Not that I think it is, but that's not here to discuss. But the point is that there's this, like, we are not original beings. Everything we are made of physically has been around for a very, very long time indeed. All our molecules, atoms, etc., all the elements that make up our bodies. Okay, so we are, in fact, the universe looking at itself, right? So is there some kind of just like people can't explain the Fibonacci sequence. It's a real thing. It's there. You see it in nature. It's everywhere. Why? No one knows. It's just what it is. But why that? Why the Fibonacci sequence? Why is it that? It's an algorithm, really, right? But which means a mathematical formula. Why? Don't know. But it's there. So could you argue then that the universe, just as it uses the Fibonacci sequence, now I'm assigning agency to the universe. You see how I did that? Maybe it also brings forth sentient life so it can look at itself. I don't know. But I mean, the Fibonacci sequence makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Zero sense. It's not related to the quantum mechanical world or to any kind of a particle physics I can think of. Like it's not part of the fundamental forces of nature. It's just a number sequence. But in nature, it is everywhere. The Fibonacci sequence is everywhere. So again, this would argue that we are in fact in a simulation that might be run by an AI. Right? In fact, mathematically speaking, it is more likely that we are than that we're not. Purely statistically speaking, right? So whether or not we're destroyed by this AI or not is also irrelevant, because who cares? It's just a simulation.
Well, on that bombshell, right? I wanted to bring up something else which was really, really disturbing. Because if that wasn't disturbing enough, I think this is going to get you. And this is a good question. Why? Joe Biden's wife kisses another man on the lips. But you know who that other man was? Kamala Harris's husband.
Bob?
It's irrelevant what the name of the fellow is. Doug is his actual name. But I've sent you through a link, and just for the people, they can have a look too. It's very strange. It is very strange. I've seen something
very European.
I've seen something very similar in my working career, where two people kissed that shouldn't have known each other enough to do that, and one person slid their fingers up through the hair of the other person while they kissed.
You promised you wouldn't tell anyone, Dave. That was going to be our little secret.
Yeah, but you don't have hair. That's right. So no. So this is really weird. And how dopey does, and that's not, I'm not being rude, I mean that's a description of the level of intelligence that's being displayed by Joe. It's declining really quickly, and well, these two people seem to get along just fine. And right, is Joe in the room when they're doing something? I don't know. Right, if he is, then there's a word for that, which I won't say on here. But that's very strange. Is that how she got the VP role? You know, is that how Kamala got the VP role? Maybe they're into swinging. I don't know. But
Well, they're,
it
you know,
they are closed eye kissing each other on the lips, and that to me just says everything about how crazy this world has gone.
She was pretending it was Joe. Close my eyes, right? It's not cheating if I close my eyes.
No, she does that with Joe.
You know the rules. What are you doing, huh? It's a different postcode.
When you could count to 5, Joe.
Were they? Okay, let me ask you this, Dave. Were they in a different postcode?
When they did it?
Yeah, from their home.
Oh, so it doesn't count?
It's different postcode, man. You know the rules. Serious. No, but look, I hear what you're saying. Look, okay, this is gonna be a bit disturbing, but we have to go there because you brought it up. It's your fault.
It was right before the President's State of the Union address.
No. I hear you. So these people are living in a different world to most other people.
Oh, like so is Epstein.
Us.
That's right.
Bingo. So boundaries that you might experience or set up aren't necessarily
or live by, right?
They're not necessarily what are they? Bound by the same things. They're just not. So they have these different attitudes, but what it means is that they don't have the same moral code or ethics as the majority of the population. They just don't. It's clear because you can't send people to die, refusing yourself, of course, to go, or your family for that matter, unless you have a certain view of the world, unless you've got certain moral code and ethics or lack thereof. And this sort of falls into it. A lot of in the world still today, a lot of people are quite private about their sex life, etc., which that's a good thing, right? And they also don't like their children to be exposed.
Fewer and fewer people are doing that these days.
True, but and if you look at what's happening in the States, especially where they're bringing sex education forward, where they're having 4 and 5-year-olds forced, I guess, even
that's grooming. That's so wrong.
Their pronoun. I mean, you're 4 and 5 years old. I mean, what are you? Are you a them? Are you a they? Are you a mix or max or whatever you want to call it? And I think that is a little bit young.
Really?
And the thing is, I get it. And I understand how it all works, and I know there are people that feel certain ways, and that's cool. And always have been people like that. But they're not necessarily in the majority, right? And if you try to push a certain worldview on kids that are, completely unprepared for that kind of thought, to be honest, then you're creating a certain template for the world. And it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It is a bad thing for people that are used to the world as it is. Okay, so if you have grown up in this world with apple pie and mom and dad and all that, right, then you are probably feeling a little lost. Is this a paradigm shift? It might be. We might be witnessing a paradigm shift. You have to understand that our heterosexual world, or the emphasis on heterosexuality in our world right now, is a fairly unusual phenomenon in that elder cultures didn't see it quite that way. And even today, we have cultures on the planet that are not defining themselves in a bisexual way. And I mean, as in male and female, right? In a heterosexual way. They're defining themselves Like the katoi, for example, in Thailand, the katoi, right? That's the thing. It's accepted as the third sex. In the Pacific Islands, if a mother doesn't have a daughter, then she's allowed to bring her youngest son up as a girl. That's normal. There are other cultures that do various degrees of similar things. And if you go back in time to especially the Greek and Roman times, there was no such thing as I guess heterosexuality per se, right? Nobody would look at you twice if you were with men or women. Who cares, essentially, right? I mean, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing. In fact, the Spartans encouraged homosexuality, right?
They would only congregate out of it.
Yeah, they would only congregate with women when they had to procreate. That's how it would work. So look, it is uncomfortable for people that are that were raised a certain way, but we should also realize that it doesn't matter. We shouldn't force children into gender identities. They should be allowed to discover for themselves who they are. But once they have discovered it, and discover it they will, then we should go with it. Let them be. Let them be. If it doesn't hurt anyone, well, I mean, this whole program that especially the Catholic Church, but other institutions as well, of reprogramming. I think that's horrendous.
Yeah, the ECT, man, that fixes everything.
Yeah. It's terrible, and we should not do it, because it's like oh yeah, I'll give you some example. I went to Singapore. I've told you, and I was sitting in the movies years ago, and I was watching this beach commercial come on. It's just the sand, surf, blue sky, and people running around in bathing suits, and I'm thinking, okay, well, it's clearly a commercial for some kind of sun lotion. No, not really, Mackie. That's not what it was at all.
Oh,
it was whitening cream, because it is thought that if you're of a darker complexion, you're poorer and less desirable than if you're of a fairer complexion. And it's the same thing, really. Okay, it is a slightly different, I guess, effect, but you're trying to change something that you're not. You're trying to change yourself into something that you're not, right? And plastic surgery and all of that stuff falls into the same category for me as well. We are no longer happy with who we are. We are obsessed with being something else, something more desirable, something other, right? And now certain groups have such power that they can force others into their particular frame if they want to, or trying to at least. So I think we're seeing, as we're seeing paradigm shifts and catastrophes approaching from one end, we're seeing paradigm shifts from another direction as well, right? It is almost inevitable for us not to go through massive change as we go forward, and we will have a clash of cultures, because people from different backgrounds, different cultures, different expectations are being thrown together by catastrophes, by natural disasters, by economic disasters too. It's happening. 1 million Ukrainians into Germany, 1 million Syrians into Germany, right? 46,000 people died in the earthquake, Turkey and Syria. More will be found dead, but many will be displaced, and they will also further, challenge the cultures of the countries where they go to, because there'll be tens of thousands of people that have to be relocated. We're no longer talking about onesies and twosies, or a few hundred here, or even a few thousand here. We're now moving into the vicinity of hundreds of thousands and millions of people being displaced. Maybe soon enough it'll be tens of millions. You wait until we see real floods, when the glaciers in the Himalayas melt. Okay, and then the flooding is the first bit. Then we have the drought. But sorry, before I hand you the talking stick, there's one thing I want to say, because I saw it today and I need to say it.
What's that?
I have proof positive, Dave, that people are listening to our show.
Oh, how so?
So I was just scrolling, and then I saw I think it was Bartley.
Yep.
he was posting a meme, and what it was a Guy Fawkes mask, and it says, "Isn't it time that we stop calling them the elite and calling them what they really are, parasites?"
Yes.
I have been saying this for at least, this is pre-pandemic, so at least 3 or 4 years I've been saying this. And finally, it has caught on enough for there to be a meme. Because I had no one else that I listened to or heard refer to them had ever called them parasites rather than
always the elite. That's right.
Always the elite. Always the elite. So, all right. So therefore, I'm convinced that people are listening to this show, even if it's on in the background and it's only subliminal. I know, right?
It's on the background. All right. So yes, while you were focusing on your point there before, the thing that ran through my mind and was quickly extinguished was the fire of depopulation. And it's still a thing, and regardless or not, whether you identify as a lamppost or a tree or a different gender is irrelevant. The amount of people that would be procreating, using your words, hasn't changed. Those people would have been basically oppressed by society into doing it reluctantly if there was enough prejudice.
Yes.
But now they're open to be able to at least take up the orphan world of unwanted children, IVF for circumstances, or having your best friend help out, right? And I think all of that is really important.
Yes.
And I'm not going to water it down, because I'm stay solid on my original thought, and that is that depopulation is still a thing, and it didn't matter whether that happens or not. The only problem with our societies, our cultures mixing together, is that the groups of opposition become larger and stronger within what was an isolated community or single culture. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. And I still truly believe that there'll be a time when people won't be disclosing who they are in the same way that they've just been taught to. I think acceptance is what we were really looking for. Right. But as that pendulum to support the acceptance of multiple identifications of gender, and I don't really care what you have or what you think you identify as, or what you actually, sorry, not think, yeah, that sounds wrong, who you identify as. I don't mind. I'm not going to complain. Just be careful. That might be something that someone can hold against you at some point. And that can be from another culture. Could you imagine, Mackie, if there was a culture that was dead set against it? I know there are.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Don't have to say who they are. Who ended up in conflict against us.
Of course.
Imagine the billboards they could have showing our culture, and it would be defamatory, as they would normally, but especially defamatory. And I think that kind of, it paints a different world. And it's, I think, having said all that, I think if there was a catastrophe, like you mentioned, I think we would just, get together and sort it out. That's kind of the way, person to person, it doesn't matter who's helping who, right? And then, we'd probably have to start again. But I wanted to mention something real quick. I know we've got 5 minutes. The Ohio train derailment. Did you know that, Erin Brockovich is actually going to go and visit the site? It's called Palestine, but it's in Ohio, amid the chemical fears. Now, the train derailed. There was a prior instruction from Trump, but led by the unions, that the breaking through the city zones wasn't required because of time delays that they'd found that had occurred. It slowed the trains down. Momentum is really hard to build back up again. And I'm not saying that's the cause, just saying it's been bandied about. When the train derailed and it had this toxic chemicals in it, do you remember that whale that was beached and they had a town hall and decided the guy with all the explosives said, I'll just blow it up?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how well that went?
Really well.
It blew some of it up, and then large, 2 to 5 pound pieces came raining down from nearly a mile high. They'd reached terminal velocity and they destroyed cars and killed people and stuff, right? And there was still this stinky, rotten mess on the beach of this dead whale. Well, what they decided to do was, because it was too dangerous to decant the tankers, these rail tankers. So they basically just popped holes in them, leaked it all into the where they could contain it at least, and then set it on fire. But that was worse, right? Now it's an airborne thing, and there's this chemical soot falling down like nuclear fallout from it, and it completely covered the town. Like this mushroom cloud of toxic chemicals. It's nuts. It would have been safer to use like spray foam and something like that, and try to absorb it. But no. Let's just drain it all away.
They like to call it a zombie cloud. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I know. I get that. Yeah. Honestly, it's crazy. It really is. They should have moved on from that suggestion to do that. Asked, maybe a chemical scientist, what's the worst case scenario if we do set it on fire? How many liters you got? Like 1 or 2? Oh no, there's 500,000 liters of this stuff. What are we going to do with it? Don't burn it. Whatever you do, it's like really bad, right? No. Shush. What do you know? So they set it on fire. And my goodness, just lucky, Mickey, it hadn't happened here, right?
Yeah.
Because we would have done the same thing, for sure. Otherwise, I reckon someone would have blown it up with C4, probably from near a mine. Oh, we've got heaps.
How can we solve this problem? Call Two Finger Bob. We'll blow it up. We'll blow it up.
Two Finger Bob. Call Lefty.
It's not Lefty anymore, Dave.
He's only got 2 fingers. Oh, that's oh my goodness.
For every solution there's an explosive, right?
That's true. What just think to yourself, what would the Mythbusters do? Right? Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's the music, all right. Look, it's only a short break and we'll catch you on the other side of the break.